So good afternoon, my name is Mark Miller, and my project was on observations on functional leader intervention in decentralized organizations, or Alone and Unafraid, and public life, private interests. So leadership in all its merited forms is about the interaction between a private individual and public group of constituents. It is a private action conducted in a public space. The act of leadership and how one leads in and of itself is a very private act that is realized through public action. The optimization of effective leadership potential inside these organizations requires strong understanding of how, where, and why leaders make decisions and assert their authority in order to better ensure goal success. By ascertaining where and why leaders intervene, we can improve our understanding on how leaders affect group dynamics and accomplish problem-solving tasks. So I chose a decentralized organization, and the reason why I looked at that was decentralized organizations tend to give their leaders greater leeway in their actions and thus leading more to leader interactions and interventions. So the question I asked was, under what circumstances, at what points, and at what times in a decentralized organization process can empowered leaders most effectively assert their authority so as to increase goal success or task accomplishment? So my plan was going into this was to look at a team within a small startup company, shadow its leader, and ascertain where and why they made certain interventions. Utilizing Dr. Richard Hackman's theory of coaching interventions, the assumption was to look at where the leader made systematic interventions, then ascertain where the interventions were perceived as good or bad, as dictated by the members of the team, and it's set out in this manner as a non-participatory observational inductive ethnography. So my assumptions going into this was that depending on whether there was an assessed good or bad intervention, there would potentially be an increase or decrease in follow-on leader interventions. Thus, this was based around the idea that the shadow leader was conducting systematic interventions or touch points, i.e. morning meetings or in-progress reviews. So quickly, as I got into that, the plan changed actually. As the observations began, it was readily apparent that the conditions in the field were not conducive to a non-participatory observation. The team was so tight-knit and the leader was very active in managing his team. So as the observer, I became a participant in the daily interactions, albeit somewhat removed. I could not be totally removed, so I became a participant in the observations themselves. I was engaged by members of the team, and I spoke with the team leader and team on a daily basis. So it was quickly evident that this leader and team did not work around a systematic process, meaning there were few, if any, planned meetings, and most interventions were done spontaneously. So going into my preliminary results, so the way the team leader engaged with his team was predominantly through spontaneous interactions, not systematic ones. Most of these being initiated by his team looking for advice, expertise, or guidance on an issue they had either been working on or wanted to initiate. The team was very proactive. The ad hoc meetings were formal meetings called together by the team leader, but were not part of any weekly rhythm. They were called to address singular or most pressing issues. So in that, furthermore, when given Likert surveys after each one of these ad hoc meetings, every single survey came back with a positive response. Each one of the formal meetings ended in what one would call a good intervention and moved the team in a direction they all felt was a correct one. I reached the ceiling effect in that there was no perceived bad intervention. So what does the data suggest? The interventions, or now interactions, seem to be driven more by context, personality, and leadership style. The analysis suggests that it's not so much systematic interventions driving the team, but more the act of mentorship coming from the team leader. He liked to educate the team, ask them leading questions, so team members would seek their own solutions, and then he would give guidance on the parameters of authority in which they would act. The team was very, like I said, proactive in this manner. So the themes I observed coming out of this was that leadership style seems to be the driver of the predominant amount of the interactions within the team. The leadership style of the team leader had a direct impact on the team's atmosphere, which created a great environment for openness and collaboration. The team leader presented himself as a mentor, whether consciously or unconsciously is unknown, but it drove the team's members in seeking his advice, expertise, and knowledge. The team operated more on leadership style than process. Most systematic meetings were ad hoc, with mentorship and teaching interactions being the most prevalent instead of directive authoritarianism. Work was still completed at a high degree, however, and each team member reported as having a great deal of freedom to act within their area of responsibility. The team leader, when the context demanded it, could be directive, but most interactions were collaborative and educational in nature. So for further research, this project has been conducted in an attempt to garner insights into questions about leader interactions and to aid in building follow-on hypotheses. So this project is still in progress and undergoing data analysis, so new themes may emerge with others moving to the background. However, What this project is suggesting is that effective leadership within decentralized organizations are based more on leadership style as opposed to systematic interventions. So it's more about style than process. Thank you. Have a nice day.